Backed by popular demand, we're ranking the best point guard from every NBA team in the 2021 NBA season. I debated whether or not to continue this series onto this year, but it's been requested a lot recently, so here it is. The support for these videos usually falls off by the time we get to the center position though, so make sure to show support on these videos so I can make it through doing every position. But as for point guards, here's number 30. We got the Pistons with Corey Joseph. Nothing too exciting, just like the Pistons. 29. The Magic with Markelle Fultz. The Magic have been looking rough recently. Both Markelle and Cole Anthony have been injured, but when healthy, Markelle still isn't great, but he does take Orlando's spot. 28. The Clippers with Rajon Rondo. Now Rondo's not currently starting over Patrick Beverley, but I still have him as the better overall player. For number 27, we got the Knicks with Derrick Rose, and this is by far the lowest D Rose has ever ranked in one of my point guard rankings. With Detroit being terrible and now him being off the bench for the Knicks, it's produced a rough year for him compared to the past few. Hopefully he bounces back though, and if he doesn't, also keep a lookout for Emmanuel Quickley to maybe take the spot down the line. For 26, we have the Bulls and Kobe White, and honestly I did expect Kobe to have a bigger year than he is currently. He's averaging just about the same numbers this year as a starter as he was last year when he came off the bench, but seeing that it's the Bulls, it isn't surprising that something like this is happening. For number 25, it goes to the Cavs for Darius Garland, because he's technically been playing point guard while Colin Sexton's been playing shooting guard this year, and you really don't hear Garland's name talked about too much, but for only being in year 2, he's shown a ton of progress. At number 24, we give it to the Spurs for DeJounte Murray. The Spurs have been all over this while still being elite on defense. He's taken a huge leap on offense, and one that I didn't know if he could, because players like him that play with his style usually don't. But now that he's shown that he's capable, his future's very bright. At 23, we got the Miami Heat and Goran Dragic. Kendrick Nunn's been starting for Miami, but Dragic is still by far the better overall player, and that'll be evident once again when the playoffs come around. He kinda reminds me of a Tony Parker type player, and that's why he's worth every bit of his $18 million contract. For number 22, it goes to the Pelicans and Lonzo Ball, and 22 seems pretty low for Lonzo considering how well he's played recently, but there's just still a lot of great players ahead of him, and even though he's shown major improvements, he's still got to keep it up to beat out some of these other guys, like Dennis Schroeder at 21 for the Lakers, and Schroeder went from being on a bad team last year as the runner-up for 6th Man of the Year to a starter on the defending champ Los Angeles Lakers, and he has not disappointed. He's come in and done exactly what he's been expected to. He's a great player, and for everyone that's going to say LeBron should have ranked as the Lakers point guard, he played point last year. They had no other one in the starting lineup, but now they do, so he's transitioned back to small forward, or more of a point forward like he's always been. At number 20, it goes to LaMelo Ball from the Hornets, and LaMelo's been the player Lonzo was supposed to be, and even as a rookie he ranks higher because it's been clear that he's already the better player. It's not a surprise though, even since he was younger, Lonzo has said that Melo was the most skilled and would be the best out of the three brothers. I am surprised though that he's been so good so quick, and at this rate I got no doubt that he's going to be a superstar in no time. The Thunder then take the 19th spot with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's had a very quiet year since OKC's in a complete rebuild, and I gotta say their starting lineups recently have been some of the worst in NBA history, but this year has still been easily the best personal one of his career, with him averaging 23, 6, and 5 on 40% from 3. It looks like it's going to get cut short due to injuries, but it's great to see the kind of progress with him, even post Chris Paul. 18. The Wolves and D'Angelo Russell. Man, Minnesota's been so bad this year. They have 2 first overall picks and a 2nd overall pick in Russell on the team, and they still suck. And even though Russell was an all-star just 2 years ago, the fact that his team's been this bad only hurts his rankings, no matter how good he really is. And same goes for John Wall at 17 for the Rockets. Even though he's surprised a lot of people and turned a lot of heads with how good he's been since his return, for the amount of talent Houston has had, and for them to be as bad as they are, with Wall leading the way, it does make him look bad. Personally, he's doing good, but as a team leader, not so much. And again, same thing one more time for De'Aaron Fox at 16 for the Kings. He's having the best year of his career, putting up 24 and 7, but he's never going to rank any higher without leading the Kings to a better record. This is his 4th year in the NBA, and they still have never even been close to making it to the playoffs. And I know most of this is the Kings' fault, but you can only rank a guy so high that has never had a winning season. It was Devin Booker's problem before this year. The same can't be said though for Ja Morant for the Grizzlies at 15, because while they haven't had great great seasons with them, he clearly has made a difference and made Memphis a better team than they would have been. And I don't know if I see him becoming a star or more of like a Mike Conley type player, but either way, he definitely deserves the number 15 spot for now. At 14, the Celtics take it with Kemba Walker, and this is probably the lowest Kemba is ranked in one of these videos. Don't get me wrong, 14's still good, but it's also the first year he hasn't been an all-star since I've started making these, and it's because he's still struggling to adjust to his new team, and it makes sense. He was the best player on his team for most of his NBA career, and now he's had to adjust to being the third best player in Boston and taking a big backseat. If he figures things out though, maybe he'll still rank higher down the line. The 13th spot goes to the Pacers and Malcolm Brogdon. I'm still a big fan of Malcolm, and he's been drastically better this year than last, and still very underrated as a player. It's just unfortunate Indiana's not playing as good as they should be this season. Then at 12, we have the Jazz and Mike Conley, and I know this ranking probably seems a little high, but Conley's on the team with the best record in the league. He was a first-time All-Star this year and giving the Jazz exactly what they need from him. He's always been that type of player, and he's the perfect fit as Utah's point guard. He struggled for them last year, but now without a doubt deserves to be ranked here at number 12. Same could be said for the Toronto Raptors at 11, whose best point guard is obviously Kyle Lowry. And this season's been terrible for them as expected. They lost Serge Ibaka and Marc Gasol, and they've played the entire season in Tampa Bay. Basically every single game for them has been an away game, and they've basically been living in hotels for the entire year, which is why if this season has been unfair to anyone, it's been this team. Lowry still had a good season though, and he's been reliable enough for the past decade that one bad year really isn't going to hurt his ranking too bad. 10, the Bucks and Drew Holiday, and it's been awesome to see Drew finally getting to show what he can do on a real playoff team. Milwaukee and Giannis really couldn't have asked for a better addition to this team. He brings exactly what they need on offense and defense, and assuming he takes on a big role in the playoffs, the Bucks starters could look very different this year. It's just weird though, even on one of the best teams in the league, Holiday is still underrated. 9, the Wizards and Russell Westbrook. Now I feel weird about this one. This is by far the lowest Russ is ranked in one of these videos. He usually ranks between the 3 and 5 spots, and honestly I feel like he should be ranked lower. Within the top 10 at number 9 seems kinda high. Yes, he currently is averaging a 25 point per game triple-double, but the Wizards added him to this team while making very little other changes from last season, and they're now on pace to finish with just about the same exact record. Don't get me wrong, the Wizards still suck, and it's mostly their fault too, but Russ has gotta add at least a few wins. Number 8 is the Nuggets and Jamal Murray. And I was getting a little worried when the season started so slow for Denver, but it's been good to see them bounce back. Jokic should win MVP this year, and that's helped Jamal elevate to the best year of his career. I don't know when it'll happen, but sooner or later, this man is going to become an all-star. Then at number 7, we got Trae Young for the Hawks. Trae's lost a lot of the hype that he had from last year. Last season, he was an all-star starter, and this year he didn't even make the team. The Hawks were a bad team his first year, then they made some huge offseason moves, and they were still bad, and that's where things went south for his reputation. And it seems like everyone just really ignored all the injuries this team really had. Either way though, I'm not giving up on Trae just yet, because they have started to turn things around and are in the playoff picture again. Ben Simmons takes number 6 for the 76ers, and there is literally no difference between Ben Simmons' game this year and last, so I'm not even going to say anything about him. At 5 though, we have Luka for the Mavs, and Luka Doncic really still couldn't be playing any better, and the Mavs are trying to do everything they can to get him a championship team, and it's going to take that to happen to improve his ranking any more above the guys ahead of him. Sadly though, Dallas isn't even close just yet. Number 4, the Suns and Chris Paul. And okay, I know it seems weird to rank CP3 above Luka's 28, 8, and 8, and above some of the other guys, but Chris has single-handedly taken the Suns from 10th in the West last year to 2nd this year, above the Lakers and the Clippers, and by single-handedly I mean he was the only big addition to this team, and now they're this much better. While the Thunder have fallen from 5th in the West last year to now 13th without him. Then in the 3 spot, we got James Harden for the Nets. You were probably expecting Kyrie Irving, and he would have also landed in this number 3 spot. But they really have swapped positions this year, and James Harden couldn't possibly be any better. To watch how he takes over games for Brooklyn without Kyrie and KD on the court is insane. For them to have had a rocky start to the season, and then he gets there and instantly turns things around for them, bringing them to 1st in the East without KD, and an entirely new system for him, puts him right up there with anybody in MVP talks. At the 2 spot, it's Damian Lillard, and no discussion needed. He's been in this spot for years and is still somehow only getting better. And at 1, Steph Curry, also nothing needs to be said. Some of these guys have been closing in on this gap with Steph though, especially with how bad the Warriors have been, but I still think it's not even close just yet. And these rankings are hard to come up with, and no matter how much thought I put into it, they're always controversial because everyone's opinions are different. So comment yours and what you agree and disagree with. Like and subscribe for the shooting guards video, and I'll catch you next time.